Hi, I'm Damien Newton here with Fred Sutton. We just finished the CD11 Livable Streets Candidates Forum. Fred is one of the 4 candidates for City Council, and I guess the first obvious question is, how did it go tonight?
I think it went well. I mean, being from a younger generation, obviously you're up against seasoned pros, and that can be intimidating. I think that is something that younger generations need to start doing, is getting involved. And so I was taking that step here tonight, and I had a blast. I think I was very happy with how it went.
Was there a particular question that was asked tonight that was maybe a favorite question or caught you off guard, or one you were looking forward to, or anything along those lines?
Well, the one I was looking forward to the most was the Bundy Parkway. And then there was one that I wanted to talk about was billboards and the billboard issues in Los Angeles. One that caught me off guard the most was probably the Wild West one. I had to sit there and think about that, but I mean, it has to do with getting more cops on the streets to enforce laws.
Right. Now, you talked about Bundy Park. The reason I sort of smirked when you said that is one of our board members who's written for us in the past is very, very tuned into that issue. I think it's like a personal crusade. So I guess, could you explain what we're talking about there a little bit?
On Santa Monica and Bundy, right down from where I live, there is a little open green space. It's tiny, but it has a huge fence around it. This is a park that Los Angeles already has, and it has a steel fence around it. And on the outside are homeless encampments, and it's been like this for years. And Los Angeles, we've been talking about trying to expand open spaces. I know that was a big part of the mayor. He expanded open spaces by some 650 acres. And here's an example of an open space that we already have, and there is a park, there's a fence around it. I want to bring that fence down. I mean, I don't know how they have not brought that down years ago. And we can do things to keep the park clean and regulated by having like a kiosk there or something of that nature, selling food, and it will help make the community, bring the community together, make it walkable and bikeable, and people would want to grab their coffee in Starbucks and go and sit in this little park while they wait for the bus, and it will just help increase the community social destination that are sorely lacking throughout the district. And this is a spot we already have and just are neglecting.
So I think you also mentioned the Wild West question.
Yes.
For those people that don't sit through the forum or weren't here tonight, could you also explain that one, and what was your answer to it?
They were talking about Los Angeles, and people aren't obeying the laws. People are walking across the street, bicyclists are going through red lights, cars are weaving in and out of traffic, not even put on their blinkers. And how are we going to solve that? And that is a cultural problem of how Los Angeles has gotten used to maneuvering on our streets. But right now, police officers, if there is not someone on desk duty, if there's not a civilian doing the paperwork on desk, a police officer is taken off the street and put behind that desk. So we need to start putting civilians back into those places to do paperwork, so we can get those officers out of the office and onto the beat where they belong to help enforce these laws. And we need to make them stiff. I mean, we need to start reining that in, and people, as they see how bad the penalties are, they will change their behavior.
Traditionally, when I do interviews, the last question I always ask is what I call the magic wand question, whereas if you could change one thing about LA's, let's say, transportation, planning, open space infrastructure, with the wave of a magic wand, what would it be? I
would have been that council member in the chamber saying, how on earth are you taking away the Pacific Electric? This is, if I could wave a magic wand, I just would have never made that decision. That was an infrastructure we had and destroyed. But for currently, if I could have one of the things today, it'd be the subway to see going at least to Bundy. I would like it to go a little bit further past the 405, because that is a fortress that we're dealing with. But Pacific Electric would be my ideal.
All right, great. That's a great answer. I haven't gotten that one before. Thank you.
All right, Pacific.
Good luck.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you too.